Number 1, Fnatic versus Teamless. We will be checking out these bans.
Fizz and Shen being banned out immediately from both of these teams. It's actually going pretty fast. And the Nunu ban very early on. And Nunu has actually really come back into his own.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic support to have in the bot lane with a large myriad of ADs. Not to mention that the jungle presence from Nunu can actually be something to be worried about. But here's something interesting. Fnatic actually banning out the
like, I'm bored with Maokai.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to play Maokai right now. I'm a little bit annoyed. It's not Arbor Day. Just let's get him out there and let's force Teamless into a situation because that's probably going to be their last ban. And Teamless actually banning out Zyra against themselves, but the first pick, Alistar, will come in here from Fnatic.
And there's the issue with the Maokai. Alistar hadn't been banned yet, and Fnatic, they were in a situation where they likely wanted either Zyra or Alistar. And they would, prefer Alistar over Maokai. Alistar's just phenomenal. But they didn't want to leave Maokai open, give Teamless the opportunity to ban out Zyra. Then Fnatic grabs Alistar, and Teamless grabs Maokai. So there would be like no advantage for Fnatic there. So as a result, they ban out Maokai, and it leaves two, really strong champions left for Teamless. Teamless probably could have left open one of them, but I guess they just didn't want to risk that Zyra pick. So nice, safe thing. Ezreal has been phenomenal. We've been seeing that again and again recently. One of the strongest AD carries in the game, and it used to be that you just didn't feel that Ezreal had enough damage as the game progressed and had enough damage in the late game, and that was always the issue with Ezreal, and it primarily had to do with his short attack range. So when you have these strong initiating champions and bruisers that are just so heavy, they're so tanky, Ezreal just didn't have enough damage compared with a number of other AD carries. Now we're starting to see a lot more AoE CC, a lot more backline penetration, champions like Alistar and whatnot, that maybe champions like Graves can't deal with to the same extent. But Ezreal, he has that survivability. His laning phase is phenomenal. He's just an all-around strong pick.
And he's also very versatile as well. If you want, depending on how you're feeling in the game, you can go for that Trinity. You can go for the Infinity Edge. You can go for either art. If you want to be more bursty, if you want that sustained damage, you can be malleable with that pick. Same thing with Corki to an extent as well. He's been fantastic. Been seeing a lot of him lately as well.
Yeah, I think the big thing with Ezreal has been people coming around to the Essence Flux leveling first, because when you level up your Q first, yes, you get a little bit more damage, but you can exchange harass as well in lane. Leveling up the Essence Flux, you just easily win any matchup if you're ahead. So you get a small advantage on Ezreal. You're able to shut them down. But Fnatic actually going to be going with Corki and Malphite. So very strong champions. I love the Corki pick. Gives them a nice mix of damage. My one concern with the Malphite and Alistar is a fantastic combo. We've seen that time and time again, how they can combo that and just instantly win fights for your team. They give you a lot of options, but the concern is that Teamless, they can go with like an Ahri here. They already have Ezreal and Vladimir, who are both very, survivable champions. They don't usually have to worry about the Malphite combos. Vlad can pull, Ezreal gets out of there. So that mobility can usually do very well against Malphite, and then usually also double AP works very well. So we'll see. I think Ahri would be a very strong pick here. Orianna works as well, though. Nice. Has a little bit more utility and mobility for her team. And
also grab the Orianna here just so Fnatic can't go ahead and grab it for themselves, because Orianna with the Alistar, with the Malphite, someone who can go ahead and clear a lot of distance and get into the middle of the team with that Ori ult can just be so incredibly devastating. It's just like, man, I can't believe I fell for that again. I can't believe we all just decided to stay up in one big clump and actually get smacked around by that. But it does set Vlad for sure into the top lane, so there is an opportunity for Fnatic to go ahead and get some really hard counters in.
Yeah, and I love Orianna's where she is right now. After the buffs to her recently, she's looking very strong. She has a lot of utility. She has a lot of versatility. The really short cooldowns, the Q spam is phenomenal. It's still a short range. That's still kind of difficult to deal with, but in the hands of the right player, she can outfarm almost anyone in the game in the mid lane, and then just the kiting potential and whatnot is fantastic. Now, Fnatic's in a situation they really need to up their damage. They still have a lot of mobility. Ahri is definitely a strong pick because they need that single target burst damage. They need someone that can lane well against Orianna, since Orianna is one of the strongest laners in the game. And then we'll see who they go for bot. Someone like Sona would be fantastic, though, because they have the AoE initiation. Sona and Corki is a very strong lane, but then it also gives them a little bit more movement speed advantage, you know, so that they can kite in and out of fights. And they're going to need that movement speed against Orianna.
Man.
But wow.
Lots of initiation
going
here.
with the Leona, so just a really nasty AoE team. And we've seen N-Rated playing a lot of Orianna over the last couple of days. It's something that it's been a go-to for Fnatic so far. So we'll see how that kind of AoE team works out for them.
And it's just a matter of Teamless to pick their jungler, someone who can be really good at this counter initiation right in the face of all this. Mumu, I think, would be good. Nautilus, I think, would actually be pretty good here too, because Corki is going to be a source of the majority of the damage coming from Fnatic. It's going to be Corki and Ahri, and to have that single target huge CC coming from Nautilus, I think, would actually really help a lot here.
Yeah, it's been weird to think that we haven't actually seen Nautilus in a while, though. You know, just his juggling speed, he's kind of dropped off. People aren't, you know, as excited about ganking consistently. I would expect to see more of a controlling jungler here against Alistar, since Alistar, you're looking to be really aggressive. Wow, but there it goes.
Nice.
So, good call. You know, it's been so long since we've seen a Nautilus, and, you know, that's definitely, the CC definitely works, you know, with that front line. But we'll see how it works. It is interesting, though. We've seen a lot more control junglers like, you know, Mundo, Shyvana, Nocturne, as opposed to, you know, Nautilus. He's just fallen off. I swear I haven't seen Nautilus played in 2 months now.
Well, here, I mean, he's still amazing at what he does, but it also still allows for synergy with the Orianna ult as well, because, you know, with that hook, he's going to be bringing himself closer to the enemy team, so he can go ahead, get in, do what he needs to do. Actually, Vlad can do the same for the same effect. Just, you know, he's going to be pooled just as soon as he emerges from the pool. Just throw down that orb and just do everything you need to. But here's the thing with a lot of Fnatic, what they're trying to do, you're going to have Ahri, you're going to have Malphite, and you're going to have Alistar, all very clumped together right there on the front line. If you target that Nautilus ult onto Corki in the back, remember that it pops up everyone along the way, and you have to go through that tanky front line to actually, for that depth charge, actually hit that back line. So it's actually going to be a really effective CC in those team fights. It's just a matter of, can Teamless actually survive these Alistar ganks to actually get to the mid game, to get to the late game?
Yeah, no, it's both gankers are just phenomenal. So is actually running teleport, so you know, not expecting to get any kills really in the top lane. Vladimir does pretty well against Malphite. It's a pretty even lane, but you know, Vladimir with that constant harass, if he can get it, he can just keep the shield down and slowly wear him down. As the game progresses, you know, Soaz should be tanky enough that he should be okay. But we'll see what kind of initiation they can get out of that. You know, the big thing with Nautilus is that he's one of the best champions at controlling the front line. Just with his passive snare, you can just, you know, protect your back line all day. And they have a very mobile team that wants to just constantly be able to deal damage and, you know, split off from that back line. So we'll see. The concern for them is going to be they don't have a way to shut down XPK, and they don't have a way to shut down Ahri in those fights. You know, Ari's just going to be able to jump around freely and, you know, do whatever he wants. So, you know, we'll see if that's an issue for Teamless, particularly since XPK can snowball very quickly in a lot of these games, and you know, will farm as well.
But also remember that right now Teamless, they do have Janna, which is going to be massive to go ahead and just shove off everyone in the middle of these fights. You know, because that's the Janna ult, the Monsoon, is one of the best emergency, you know, the best panic button in the game. Just everybody just get the hell off of me. And for someone who relies on a lot of mobility, like Ahri, if you're already mid Spirit Rush, if you're already in the middle of using your 3 stacks of that, and if you get caught with the Monsoon, it's a little bit of a reset. You're kind of, you know, wasting some of your mobility there. So that could allow Teamless to go ahead, re-engage, get what they need, get the CC they need, maybe even a money hook might actually do it.
Yeah, and it's also something to consider. Nautilus with the Janna passive, how that'll affect his juggling speed and also his ganking potential. So we'll see. You know, it's going to be tough because there's not really the most optimal gank, lanes for him to gank. He could, you know, put some pressure on the bottom lane, particularly if, you know, Leona and Corki are trying to be aggressive. then that kind of counter presence is huge because Leona just doesn't have a means of disengaging. But I don't know, it'll be kind of difficult for Fnatic to get that kill bot lane going. So they're primarily holding on to Leona for later in the game. If they catch out Janet, they might be able to get a kill there. It's just questionable whether or not they're going to have enough damage, and Janet can throw off the whirlwind, should generally be pretty safe. So, we'll see where he's trying to get that presence. Top lane, Cyanide, if he gets a quick gank on Vladimir, he could pressure that top lane, but probably not. Usually, we're not seeing those level 2 ganks as consistently as we used to. It's a very kind of rare occurrence now. So we'll see, how they both kind of jungle and whether they just kind of sit back for a while.
That and Vlad is a relatively safe lane to begin with as well, provided that if you recognize the threat that a level 2 gank may actually happen, you just go ahead and buy the pool early, and you can just go ahead and be relatively safe. It's like, oh my god, it's an Alistar. What do I do? Pool, float away. You just kind of you just drag yourself away to towers. Like, well, I'm safe. I'm fine. It's no big deal.
Yeah, not that big of a threat. So, we'll see where they can get the presence. Neither, team has the best dragon control, so it'll probably be a late dragon unless there's any early advantages in lane that allow them to force off the other. So we'll see how that kind of factors in. But it's definitely exciting. I'm just excited to see Nautilus in play again, because there was a time where Nautilus was a first pick or first ban in almost every single game, and he's just really fallen off. People just haven't been playing him. It wasn't like he was nerfed or anything. He might have had some small changes, but nothing really significant. People just started to shy away from it. A lot of it had to do with the fact that people haven't been looking for those early ganks as often. They're looking for ganks around level 6 or a little bit later a lot more consistently.
Well, I think, he hasn't really received a whole lot in terms of nerfs, but I think really what it is that the uprising of the Malphite coming on in, I think people started to favor him a little bit more. But now, once again, you actually see a transition. You see a lot of people picking Malphite to go into jungle, and now, just to switch things up, you see people grabbing the Malphite and throwing him top lane, which I think it opens it up. It opens things up for Nautilus to actually just go ahead and reclaim his lost glory. But you do see Fnatic here going for the invade. They're walking a long way around. Well, not the long way around. They're going to be going for the red. And right now, they're getting their pings in the bush and may actually corner Teamless here from the back.
Yeah, we've actually seen this almost every single game from Fnatic, and they aren't going to be able to catch tabs. Kerp, he's going to be able to run back towards the mid lane, so he has enough time to get out of there. But I'm curious whether or not teams have just caught on to this and they expect it, because literally every single game that we've watched with Fnatic, they do the same exact move where they walk up into the jungle, they come around the backside, and they come into this early bush. And having that kind of consistent play, it could be an issue later on where it forces them into a dangerous situation. Fnatic sending their dual lane top, so we'll see if they catch him off. They're going to actually get some nice damage onto Kerp. He's got a long way to go. The stun and one more auto attack. They will have the exhaust. Can he get the flash over the wall? No, so they won't pick up that kill, but very close. And now they're in a situation where they can shut down Vladimir. I'm surprised that people haven't caught on to Fnatic's game plan and just set themselves up in like this bush right here, and when Fnatic walks in, just blast them in the face.
But I'm sure it's like, oh man, the one time that happens, the one time you get away with it, Fnatic will probably that'll be the day they stop doing it. But also keep in mind that
the invade died.
Granted, they keep doing it. Sometimes wards go down, sometimes wards don't, and it's subtle changes like that with the game plan, which still keep it, a viable strat and something to continue to keep doing. Sometimes they even go the longer way around. Sometimes just don't straight go on in for that red. But right now, Frogurt is looking to steal those wraiths. Does get the blue wraith, but Cyanide does have something to say about it. Does get the pulverized down. Targeting going down headbutt to keep him still just for a little bit. And here comes XPK. Only level 2, but will not be able to capitalize on that. So that is a wraith lost there for Fnatic.
Yeah, and so the Vladimir Malphite matchup, it's in the favor of Malphite. Instead, they send Corki and Leona top, and Kerp's going to be hanging out top as well. So Ezreal versus Malphite, that's a fine matchup. The range, Ezreal will be very safe in that lane. And then over time, he could potentially wear down Soaz. But so in order to stop Youngbuck from falling behind, because Corki and Leona could just pressure him so much, and Corki 1v1 against Vlad is already a win. Corki beats Vlad 1v1, you know, just in a very massive way. Like, Vlad can't lane against Corki. Having Leona in there as well is just a little bit added pressure. So as a result, Kerp needs to stay up here. You know, just protect him a little bit, get him some early levels, and see how he can do from there.
I like it. I like the switch, and keeping Metalex down here in the bot lane, he can go ahead and continue the pressure up against the Malphite. He doesn't really quite need that support, but right now Youngbuck needs that level of CC, because granted, he has a lot of innate damage once he starts to itemize, and if Kerp actually stays here for the long haul, you get that slow, you get that tornado on someone. If Youngbuck has enough damage, that could actually result in a pretty easy kill.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. We'll have to see how that works. Janna is leaving him with a ward, and he's actually backing off here. So going to hope that he's going to be okay. Just, you know, hopefully he'll be comfortable. Just
ward coverage.
It is going to be pretty difficult. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah. Actually, just warding by river. So I was going to say, I was like, all right, well, you know, he's still in a dangerous situation up in this top lane.
Yeah.
But we'll see how they can factor that in.
But those are,
in the meantime, setting up for mid.
Those are some really, you know, really strategic wards too, because you have pretty much the entire river covered there from Teamless, and that's a huge indication that right now they're looking to push top lane. Youngbuck gonna get stunned by N-Rated, does go in, but here comes Frogger though, deciding to move away from the mid lane and coming from top. There is no ward coverage here coming in from Fnatic just yet, and this could be really bad. N-Rated realizing, oh man, I've made a terrible mistake, but the flashing response from Frogger does keep him rooted. The pull coming from Youngbuck, he will be safe for now, and the tornado coming in. N-Rated, well, will go down there, and the first blood coming in for Youngbuck, and Lamy is still in a little bit of trouble, but Cyanide is up here looking to get some CC down the headbutt. The pulverize, not quite yet. There you go, wanted to get two members, because XPK actually came on up as well. Youngbuck does not have the pool available, will go down. Lamia managing to get that kill. XPK getting one for himself. So in the long run, 1 for 2. Nice coordination coming in from Fnatic.
Yeah, really nice job turning that around. XPK in particular coming out of the mid lane allowed them to, you know, follow it up. Otherwise, Alistar, he just wouldn't have had enough damage by himself. But it started off Frogger, you know, putting some pressure on the top lane. They were able to bait in Corki and Leona, so it almost worked out for them. They weren't able to retreat fast enough. They didn't expect the, you know, early presence, and they saw XPK and Alistar running up the lane. They just didn't, you know, have enough time to get out of there. So really nice job. So far, Soaz has been doing pretty well in this bottom lane, and that Doran shield has just been enough for him. Leona coming in behind Metalex, going to try and put on some pressure.
So N-Rated making the switch here. We see Lammy is actually still sticking around top. You got Metalex with the shift out, but will still be stunned. But now is the time to get a little bit of extra damage there on N-Rated. And it's just a matter of, will Leona decide to stay here, or are we seeing some roaming support action?
Yeah, and it is interesting to me that Soaz, with just that Doran shield, can sustain through Ezreal. Gives him some innate regen, gives him some armor, and then if he's not getting hit by the Qs, he will be fine. But Leona should be heading back into that top lane, and you know, Corki versus Vlad will be fine 1v1, but expecting that Kerp is going to be hanging out there, you know, it would definitely be a nice decision to get up there. Though, you know, he could roam, like you said, and particularly mid lane, they could maybe get some pressure there. Though Orianna usually has the mobility to get out of those ganks, Leona has really long range for that initiation.
We're seeing actually both of the supports really taking a shine to roaming here in this first match, and you know, roaming it's an older strat. It's definitely something that hasn't been around for a while. Kerp actually getting caught there with the stun, but Lamia in pursuit. Kerp is very close to going down here. Just needs to try and juke the Leona as much as possible, but Lamia's in a lot of trouble, and Youngbuck will actually get that kill. Kerp still alive somehow with the shield. Tornado going down. N-Raid does get the Q, does manage to connect on that kill, and will be a nice 1-for-1 exchange here, but it is a carry for support.
Yeah, and that's definitely not a good exchange, having you know, this carry go down. And the big thing is they're targeting the support, and so it's usually easier to get a kill on the support. But Youngbuck actually just going to be killing N-Rated underneath the turret. The teleport in from Malphite actually, so he's going to try and follow this up. N-Rated very low, but gets off the stun. The combination from Soaz able to pick that up.
N-Rated barely living there from that entire exchange.
The Ezreal ultimate, nope, not going to hit.
Nah, well he'll still hit Soaz, but not the target it wanted. Almost had a was it a Froggen moment there from the from OGN, like cross map with the Ezreal ult. But there you go. So it's still very even in gold at the moment, despite the kill advantage for Fnatic. But you have the pulverize there in the jungle. Tabs was looking to go ahead and get that blue buff, But you see, you had Fnatic here sitting and waiting, expecting the carry to come on over. But fortunately enough, Tabs did manage to make it out in time, but unfortunately it's going to delay the blue just a little bit and also open up the steal for Fnatic.
Yeah, XPK just barely missing that charm. Otherwise, that would have been a kill. Then they would have been able to transition right over for that blue. But still a really nice job from Alistar, expecting that, Orianna to be coming in there. Lamia taking some nice damage. The slow from Janna, able to hold him down there. And so, going back to that last fight, always in an AD in support lane, or a support in AP lane, in this case, it's easier to get the kills on the support a lot of times, but the issue is that you're leaving the the carry to be dealing free damage. And if you're chasing after Vladimir instead of Janna, yes, maybe you won't be able to get the kill, but Vladimir has to run. He's not going to be able to deal quite as much damage as he would otherwise. But because they're going after Janna, not only was Janna able to get out of there because she's very, she's Janna, she's just very defensive in nature, but Vladimir was able to just tear them apart the entire time.
Attempt number 2 on their friendly blue here, coming from Teamless. But Soaz is here to fight it, and Cyanide is as well. But Metal X can get the damage in this if a big team fight does decide to break out. XPK is there just to he has the vision poked on and realize, what, there's nothing gonna be happening here. And finally, Tabs actually securing that blue, gonna have it with him in the mid. But you'll see XPK actually did not go back and grab his quite yet. And you do see Frogurt actually coming on around, does have his ult up, he is 6. So quick kill on XPK is possible, and the Spirit Rush cooldown still down.
Yeah, and so far, top lane, Vladimir and Janna doing a really nice job stabilizing that lane. A lot of it is the presence that Janna has had. So Vladimir, in the position of strength in that lane, has done very well. Young Buck not getting hit by N-rated, still gets the stun, so he's going to take some nice damage there, but he will be able to back off. But still, getting him low, it opens up a killing opportunity shortly after there. And Alistar and Ahri, they're looking to come up in the jungle, maybe even come up into that top lane, but I think they're going to find Frogurt.
XPK does now have the blue. His Spirit Rush is back off cooldown. That was really quick. And that's the power of Ahri, that all that burst damage, the ability to just full to zero someone like that is huge.
And having the ward there on the red, they recognize he's getting kind of low. They have the CC and whatnot to sneak up on him from behind. So really nice job from Fnatic, using that kind of map control to their advantage. So far, it's a 1K gold advantage for Fnatic, but it's not quite where it could be, because right now, Teamless, they're doing a nice job out farming Fnatic in several of the lanes. Just small advantages, but it's still enough to keep them in this. So we'll see how that progresses throughout the game.
In the bot lane, you see Soaz, you see Metal X, Malphite versus an Ezreal, and right now Soaz has a little bit of a lead. Granted, you do have Metal X with the farm advantage, but you do have that kill on the Soaz. It's going to give him a little bit more gold. Then every kill is about 20 creeps, so you can go ahead and start itemizing very well very early on. He's already got his 2 GP10s. And that Doran shield has actually been working wonders for him there in the bot lane. But you do see Metal X starting to itemize as well. He's got the Doran's Blades. He's got the Fade, so he's going to be looking for that Trinity build. So we'll see how that burst comes into play as the teams start meeting up together.
Yeah, and the big issue that Fnatic's going to face, despite the fact that they have an early advantage, is how farmed Corki is compared with Ezreal, because Ezreal's going to have a level advantage from being only in that solo lane, and he also has a farm advantage, because it's just a little bit easier to farm than Corki's experiencing. So when the mid-game fights come around, yes, Malphite will be pretty farmed, but usually you don't need that much gold on Malphite. You just won a couple of gold per 10s, and then you don't really care that much. But if Ezreal has a significant item advantage, if he's finished like a Triforce, and then working on his second item when Corki is still not done with his Infinity Edge or something, that could be a serious disadvantage for them. Corki actually getting the Heart of Gold. They will engage onto Young Buck, but Frogurt is here as well. Young Buck almost going down, but they have to get away. The Valkyrie getting out of that hook, so they will be okay. But to make up for that item advantage, Corki going with the Heart of Gold, which is very surprising, on an AD carry. But it will pay off for itself with time. It just means that his early game is going to be that much weaker.
You got the Spirit Rushes coming in from XPK down onto Tabs. That is all done now. Will Flash in response, but will the Ignite and Deter shots actually be enough to go ahead and finish him off? No, it will not. 76 health walking away from that dive. Very well done by XPK. But we were talking a little bit in Champ Select about the objectives of these two teams, and there's a lot of initiation coming from Fnatic, but they depend on Lamia. They depend on XPK to go ahead and follow up all this initiation with the damage. And now with Lamia a little bit crippled here in terms of farm, that leaves a lot more pressure down on XPK, who fortunately enough is getting plenty of farm. Ult coming in from Leona down on the Kerp will melt there to the pressure from Lamia, and a Young Buck getting very low. Pool just in time coming in, flashes away to get away from Cyanide, and still in pursuit. You know, I was worried. I was worried for the farm on Lamia, but he's doing okay.
Yeah, and if they can pick up kills against Vladimir, that's where they're going to take their lane advantage, and that's what they wanted to do. But fantastic play from N-Rated, and the big thing was Vladimir, he was going to come in, he was going to try and, take down Lamia very quickly, while they were trying to deal with Janna. And N-Rated putting the Leona ultimate right in between them, was able to split them. In the meantime, Alistar coming in onto tabs, another little burst from XPK, one more auto attack, will be able to finish it off. So getting XPK fed, definitely a good situation for Fnatic always. But the big thing was N-Rated, he split Janna and Vladimir with that ultimate. And so Vladimir, even though he wasn't stunned, he was too slow to engage onto Lamia. So it was a really nice play. Honestly, Cyanide could have had that kill, though, if he had gone in. XPK trying to burst down. He has one more dash.
Nice.
He's able to pick it up. So really nice play there. Cyanide could have had that kill onto Vladimir if he had expected the pull and just walked up and tried to pulverize. Then when he pulls, finish it up with the headbutt. But, just getting a little anxious. But even so, really nice play coming in from behind.
Yep.
And, yeah, Fnatic pulling away with this with some early kills.
Yeah, and that is the power of the jungle Alistar. He has the move 5 boots. He has the oracles. He can be wherever he needs to be with that aggression, with that displacement, and set up the kills for the carries. And you'll notice, too, that he's not focusing a lot down in the bot lane because it's not really important for Soaz to get as fed, just like the you got the AD carries, you got the AP carry here. So Lamia and Soaz is going to be a lot of that damage, and Lamia needs to probably hit that dash, just bang a little bit on his dashboard to keep that Gatling gun sound from going on all day.
I'm wondering if that's if it's a bug on purpose or whatnot. But Metalex, we're seeing here, the nice kills on top lane are fantastic, and they're going to be able to kill Young Buck repeatedly from now on. They now have enough damage. They have enough survivability on Corki as well. Vladimir's ultimate is up, so they're going to have to watch out for that. But it seems like they'll be able to put a lot of pressure on this top lane, which is huge. But right now, Ezreal 2 levels ahead of Corki. However, if you look at the gold, Corki's actually 500 ahead, and he's going to continue to pull ahead with that Heart of Gold. And if they can get more kills. But having those kills is definitely really nice. They still have to worry about the level advantage that Ezreal has, but it's not as significant on an AD carry. Yeah,
but there's going to be a lot of hope still riding onto Metalex. When the team fights come on in, they're relying a lot on his damage to go ahead and carry things away. Granted, Young Buck's getting okay farm, but now he's starting to itemize. He's got his oh no, Soaz there, bot lane with the ult. Metalex trying to get some extra damage. He knows he's going down. He can't really escape from this. Ahri's here as well. XPK auto attack, gonna go ahead and connect with that. 3-man aggressive, brutal gank. Yikes.
Yeah, really nice job from Malphite holding the front line, tanking the turret for them, so they will be pretty safe. Nautilus coming up at the top, really looking for the counter initiation because he knows that they want to go after Young Buck. They want to pick up those kills, so they're going to play pretty safely for a second. But Orianna coming in from behind could maybe prove devastating for them.
Yep, you see Young Buck just go on in. If he goes in for that dive, something terrible could quite happen to the top lane here for Fnatic. But the minion wave is actually pushing out some free damage. And here's the Nautilus found in the bush as well. Depth charge going in. Going to keep the Corki popped up, but tabs will actually get found out by the Alistar. Just a matter of who can actually have the greatest CC here in the middle of this fight. It is 1-for-1 so far. A carry for a support. So advantage team was for the time being, but that Alistar with that presence, very well done. Realizing, recognizing, man, this is a huge setup.
Man, if they had hit tabs there and then Alistar followed it up, it would have been pretty dangerous with Nautilus, but XPK coming in, quick burst onto Frogger, kills him almost instantly. Young Buck in a dangerous situation here. He doesn't have his ultimate. XPK gets the kill onto tabs, so just dashing around the backside of the team, the double kill, and Young Buck is in a dangerous situation. There's the charm, the follow-up from Cyanide. Soaz is here as well, can tank the turret for them, and XPK will be able to finish this off.
Wait for the orb.
Oh,
there you go. Delayed triple. Pretty damn good for Fnatic. And now with all this map presence with Ahri and the Alistar and the Malphite, he's like, you know what? Forget bot lane. We're going to move as a triple threat.
Oh, that was close.
That was close. So
I didn't think it was going to hit him at first, but then I was like, no, that's actually getting a little bit closer than I expected.
Yeah, this is Malphite, Alistar, and Ahri. That's like the freaking mod squad going on here.
Yeah.
Perfect. The gank squad coming in any lane you need to be in. That's pretty much a guaranteed kill. You have all the CC you need. you got your damage, you're set, you're easy.
Yeah, and XPK's been doing a phenomenal job, roaming around the map, having that mobility, recognizing Ahri has left. He decides to follow her. 8-0-2 on XPK right now, and he's getting into that perfect Ahri build with the Abyssal Scepter, with the DFG. It's been working out for him so phenomenally in the past, so he can just burst down anyone in this game, and he has a lot of survivability as well. It's going to be very difficult to deal with him. Malphite actually kind of caught out here. Should be okay. He has the movement speed with his Q. Frogger just barely can't get in range, but 3 towers down so far for Fnatic, and with the early gold lead as well, they have the CC and they have the burst to follow up on it.
Yeah, Frogert hesitant, and understandably so. You got a chain vest being built onto XPK as well, which GA. On most other days and most other weeks, I would say, well, that's probably going to be Azonia's. But after this week, man, the M5 strat, everyone's starting to build up on those GAs and an already fed champ. It's the fever's kind of spreading here, so not too far to the question that we could see a GA and Ahri pretty soon, just in case.
Yeah, and the big thing is it's not so much that the GA wins you the fights by itself. It's what it provides, and a lot of it is the mental edge. So it's when you're ahead, you can go ahead and get that. But if XPK does decide to go that route, then he can play extremely aggressive and play that assassin kind of role, dive right into the back line, and not feel threatened that he's going to die. He's he can be that suicide bomber kind of role, and then if the GA procs, he's going to be fine. Orianna actually flashing over the wall, so Tabs almost going down to XPK once again.
Oh.
He's going to throw off some dashes, get in whatever damage he can, though he might be in a dangerous situation there. The ult, and Tabs very close to going down, but they're going to follow up the CC. XPK getting himself caught out. He actually picks up the kill, and 3v1 takes them down. N-rated, now going to be grabbing Tabs.
Oh,
Kirk
wow.
as well, almost going down, but really nice job from Fnatic, and they are just so far ahead right now.
3v1, you're still good. You're still fine. It's okay. And all the CC, that could have been the best team fight possibility Teamless could get at this point of the game, and they still could not 3v1 the carry. Metal X going down, getting caught, and I think right now that's it. There you go. Surrender actually coming in from Teamless. 20, yep, there you go, 20 minutes. That's the surrender. Game number 1 going to Fnatic, and that's why you don't feed the Ahri. Just don't feed the Ahri.
Yeah, but the big thing was just his mobility. XPK roaming around the map. And again, I feel like Ahri needs to be banned. And I don't understand why people aren't banning Ahri against Fnatic, because XPK, every single game that we watch him, he's just dominating people as Ahri. And the question is whether or not the rest of his team can follow up a lot of times. But when you can get early advantages like that, it's just absolutely phenomenal. Just massive gold advantage over everyone else in the game. And then the rest of his team, was doing fine as well. So really nice job from Fnatic.
Yeah, but here's the thing. In most situations, I would actually have a tendency to ban the Alistar more often than the Ahri. But you see that last game. But this last game in particular, though, you didn't see Alistar be a huge presence in the ganks until much later on than he usually is, because sometimes you'll see Alistars immediately go back. You get the move 5 boots, then you immediately start to do all of your ganking paths. But it took a little while. It took a little while for Fnatic, but they already had such a huge lead.
The big thing was Teamless. They had very safe lanes. And having safe lanes, you don't want to, go willy-nilly ganking all over the map and get those level 2 ganks, which is something that you used to expect from Alistar. So he's fine with sitting back, more jungling. And then he's coming in a little bit late in all these fights. And coming in late, he has the CC to turn a fight around. And that's what we're seeing. Teams are much more, reluctant to have those early ganks and be the initiators, but they're having a lot more success as the counter initiation. As long as you keep a close eye on the enemy team, Nautilus goes in, Alistar and XPK, they're able to follow that up.
Yep. So that's all we got for game number 1. Going to be coming out with game number 2. If Fnatic can take this second game, they'll grab the 3rd place spot, go home with $300 American in their pocket. While we're on break, remember, IGN.com/IPL. Click on the news section, scroll down. I assure you the contest link is there. We're giving away 5 $50 RP cards. He's got to hit a whole bunch of buttons, and you'll be entered to win. So go ahead and do that. We're going to be on break, and we will be back in a second. 3rd place match for the IPL Elites on the EU side.